Hi, man. We're rolling. You so excited?
I'm so excited. We're doing it.
Is that camera looking at me, Talia?
Yes,
Is it focused?
Yes, you are.
Awesome. We'll see you later.
Bye.
How many gigs are we gonna make here? So many. All the gigs.
How many gigs per minute
I don't know.
per camera?
Well, it's 100 megabits a second, which divided by 8 is about 12 megabytes a second, so times 60 seconds. So every camera's 12 megabytes a second. So that's 36 megabytes a second times however many minutes we talk.
360 megabytes per camera per minute.
Well, all three of them together.
Oh,
Per second. 36.
okay.
So every 10 seconds is 360. So every 30 seconds is a gig. So 2 gigs a minute. We're rolling it.
So you use unlimited drive storage for all this stuff?
Yeah. So if you want to talk, if you want to make a joke, look at that camera. That's your camera. That's my camera, and that's us.
Oh, great.
So that's like the hey.
Good. What are we doing here, Matt?
We went out to Leopold's last night, and in that state of mind, we decided it'd be really great to do a show. And so here's episode 1. You're watching Nat Ramage TV with Dustin, and we don't know what it's gonna be.
We know the format.
The whole idea is to get people who want.
On this couch.
Yeah, people who we want to talk to. It's a way to like get them, entice them maybe to come, or bait them. I don't know, one of the two.
Right. We had a whole list of people that we wanted to talk to, but before we speak to any of them, I love speaking to you. We've always joked that we're friends of convenience. You
Yes.
work here, I work up there, so it's really easy for us to run into each other.
Yeah, so to kind of preface everything, I'm a pro photographer. Dustin runs and owns an ad agency here in Saskatoon. And we are both based out of the 220, which is where we met 6 years ago. And when I first met him, I thought he was a douche.
Mm-hmm.
But I was happy that I was wrong about that.
Or you've just warmed up to the idea of me being a douche.
Yeah,
and it doesn't
I accept
bother
you as
so
you
much.
are, and you are. No, I'm just kidding.
God.
But
So we connect outside of working close. We really connect on entrepreneurship. I would say before I would call myself a marketer, I would say that I am an entrepreneur. Problem solving is the most fun part about my business, and I think it's quite similar for you as well. And that's really what spurs most of our conversations, and most of the time that we spend together is sort of related around that topic.
yeah.
So that's kind of why we're doing this, really. I think, the word entrepreneurship is totally overused now, and it doesn't quite have the same shininess or pizzazz that I think it used to have. But whatever you want to call it, being resourceful, problem solving, thinking outside the box, whatever, that's what we relate back and forth. Like that's sort of like how we connect, and the people that we'd like to talk to, they demonstrate that in different ways, different interesting ways as well. So tell me what you were doing this past weekend.
So I did I did a quarterly planning as the base of it. That was what it was.
Where were you?
I went to Calgary with a company called Measurable Genius. They run, it's hard to say, because like they're technically an agency, an advertising agency, but they're not like, that's almost diluted. Like typically an ad agency is like they make billboards and marketing, and this is a little different. This one, like, it starts with like more so business development. So anyway, that's the company who started this conference. I believe he said it's the 9th one he's done. And he does it every quarter for planning. So we did it March 1st to 3rd, which is planning for April 1st to end of June. So that's quarter 2. And to sum it up, he helps entrepreneurs. So he helped me. We start day 1. We go through values. So this is my second time going, but I'll just go over the format. Day 1, we figure out values, really go into like who we are, because as an entrepreneur, when you have a company and you're an entrepreneur, the business is you. Like, you are the business. So like when something doesn't line up to the business, then it causes friction or there's incongruencies. So it's like that's where business partners will fail or disconnect over time. So you figure out your values. Day 2 was quarterly planning, like what's the big picture down to like literally what am I doing on the day today? Like what's the kind of goal I'm aiming for? And then day 3 is marketing.
So like nobody's going to be watching this video, so I'm sure it doesn't really matter. The context doesn't really matter, but let's say somebody does. Why don't you tell?
So if you're watching this, and you're watching this,
and you're watching this, and you're watching this, then Matt, tell us a little bit, just very quickly. Tell me again about your business. Like how big is your business? Like how long have you been doing it for?
So this summer will be the 12th year. I've been photographing weddings. I went full-time about just over 8 years ago. And before that, I worked with a professional photographer for almost 3 years. So I've been doing it for a while. I started out just as a wedding photographer, and then it grew into corporate photography and working for companies like Lululemon or Nutrien or I don't know, anyone who needs photos to tell their story, or annual reports. Like Co-op's a client I've been working with recently, and they've been really fun to work with. So
this is you're casually dropping some pretty big names, which is pretty boss.
I'm name dropping because
cool.
I feel grateful for those clients, and never would I have guessed those clients would have came to me. And yeah, but I think I like to drop those names because it's companies people would know, and so when you see a sign at a gas station, or one of the photos shoots we did was literally on the side of like the 10-story building of Co-op.
Dale McKay, wasn't he like a brand ambassador for Co-op for a while?
He might still be.
Did you take those photos?
No, so there's another photographer, Bob Deutscher.
I'm sure he's great.
Yeah, he is awesome. And so he specializes in food photography, and I guess, you know what, this could segue into like business is all like who you know. Like it's the small connections I've made over time that kind of connected. So Bob Deutscher started making awesome videos. He's a good case study. If you watch this, Bob, I'm probably getting some things wrong, but he's a good case study because he started with, what was it? It was like, he just made food vlog videos, like really good ones. And I think Kraft saw it and reached out to him to make videos for like one of their websites. I think they own like Spoon or something Spoon, which is like
right?
Urban Spoon. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
I don't
heard
know.
of it.
It was some sort of law or website that needed content, and so he got into it there, and that's I think when it really grew for him, from what he's told me. And that was years ago.
But what does that have to do with business being all about who you know?
So then he comes and he starts working with like Dale McKay. Dale McKay is a very popular chef who was on Iron Chef or something Canada. Yeah. Iron Chef Canada.
So I have a theory about this because I agree. I think it is all about who you know. And the way I sort of my theory is 5 years is sort of like that's the break even point. That's where you've built enough of a network and you've had enough experience, and if you haven't gone out of business by 5 years, the referrals are just going to start coming back to you from previous connections and from previous interactions where you don't have to be so proactive. Obviously, if you've been doing it 5 years, it's probably in your nature to have some sort of sales process and to be reaching out to people. But I think 5 years, that's sort of like that number, which can be such a drag, I think, for a lot of people in different industries that are just getting started. Like at the very beginning, I think people start with their own networks. Like they start by reaching out to people in their networks, and they'll have a couple cheerleaders that are really excited about what they're doing and really enthusiastic and big fans. But I think most people just don't really give a shit because everybody's got their own issues and their own things that they're worrying about. It's not that they don't want you to succeed, it's just that they don't really care that much. So I think it's like, it's a long road to get to the point where your network is big enough where you come to mind when somebody needs a thing, where somebody can just be like, oh yeah, I know a guy or I know a girl that does that, and you should totally reach out to them. Here's some stuff that they've done, da 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 da. All of a sudden, network connections. Oh, I know, I have a mutual friend. I'll definitely reach out.
And I think and some other complexities to it, maybe it's simplicities to it. It's like, when you meet someone, they likely, like if I meet a marketer or a business communicator, if I meet them and they're at one job, like they'll move to different jobs but bring along their relationship with me, and then all
they're
of a
vendors.
sudden they bring me into that new world, which then I connect with more people. So it's very like, just meet people. You don't know. I mean, I believe it's good to be genuine. I like genuine relationships. So just to go network for the sake of growing a business, I don't care to do that. But
yeah, that can be very lame.
Yeah, it's douchey. And like everyone knows, like if you're just there, if you're just out in a networking thing to promote yourself, people can sense it. Like whether they think they know or not, like inside their brain knows. They're like, okay.
So the only people that entertain that are people that are waiting for you to finish so that they can promote themselves back to you.
Sometimes.
But it's a lose-lose either way. That's not an authentic connection, and it's not a great way to try and grow your business.
Yeah, and I think it's like our generation, I'm speaking generations, but like I'm 32, you're 31. I think it's just that older business model where like a company would have major sales reps, like just, it's an older model of like, you always have a business card on you and you always exchange them. And there's this new generation where like, you're probably already pre-connected to people on like LinkedIn or Facebook or...
Matt, do you have business cards?
Yeah.
Where are they? Do you have any on you? Do you put any in your wallet?
We're in my studio, so I could go get one, but if we were on location, I would have to go to my car.
Okay.
Like, and maybe they're in the car. And that's only because I took them out of my camera bag or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Yeah, they're not, like, they are in my laptop bag, and my laptop bag is almost always on me. But to be honest, I typically tell people, like, if you're truly interested, you can find me on the internet. That's where I am, and all of my information, my portfolio, your favorite means of communication, you can find me through that, and we can chat. But yeah, it's sort of changed. We still do it, like everybody still has business cards, but I'm not totally sure how needed and how necessary they are. I think for a moment, like when I started my business, it was like, oh, well, this is a differentiator, and this is a thing that, especially like in the industry that you and I both work in, the barrier to entry is so low that I think a lot of people are just like, oh, if I get business cards, that's at least something that sets me apart from all the other people that are trying to do this. Such a small thing. But even that, like at a moment in your business, probably matters. But I think, you get a little older and like really, like I don't know where any of the business cards that have been given to me are. For a while I had them in a flip book, but that flip book got tossed a couple of years ago, I think. And now every now and again I have a stack of business cards, and so it gets to a height where it starts to cause me anxiety, and then I file those away somewhere where I don't have to worry about them again.
In the garbage. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So who you know, and just like the world's too small. Like the internet makes the world smaller, and I think that's an advantage for like anyone doing business. Like it makes it there's more competition because it's easier, but if you can hustle and work hard, like they're like to grow would be. I think it's still like a level playing field where like if you make use of the tools, like right now we have 3 cameras going that do video, and back when I started, like my first camera couldn't do video. Now it's like absurd to think a photo camera couldn't take video, and you know, now I have a platform. Like we can make this thing, we can edit it. This as long as we talk, I'll edit it in real time. We'll throw it on the internet. Someone might see it, good or bad.
I'm so stressed. So yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So the reason I'm so out of my comfort zone right now, but the reason that we're doing this, I think, is important.
This is an experiment, would you say?
Definitely. Definitely.
What would our agenda be?
Well, so like you just alluded to, the means to create multimedia, to create content is really, like, everybody has the means to do that now. And I think it is important, especially, you know, as I get a little bit more established, that I find my voice and I find a way that feels natural, where I can become comfortable to express my beliefs and find other people that believe the things that I believe. And I have such great conversations with you, and I feel like a lot of the time my network grows through people that I'm introduced to through you. So like-minded people do similar things, and I just think this is first off a challenge and something that doesn't come easy to me, so I want to do it.
Like talking with an audience. Like we're alone, but we know this could be seen, right?
Yeah. And I just...
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to make sure everything's rolling. Because I have cameras that could shut off. 18 minutes. They only go up to 30, so.
I've eye-rolled so hard looking at other people do similar things to this before. So...
I like that we're not even stopping the conversation. I'm literally running around making sure my cameras are still rolling.
Whatever. If somebody's still watching, that's amazing. Like
we're at 20-ish minutes.
So yeah, the goal for me is to do something that I definitely don't feel comfortable doing, but I see as being a valuable tool and something that could be really inspiring and really interesting if I can find a groove and if I can find a way to make it fit my life where this doesn't become a burden to do. So the whole thing is an experiment, but it's a really fun and interesting one.
And like the experiment to me is what could happen by putting myself out there and the conversations I have with you or anyone. Like what could happen? Now I think enough of it. What could we lose?
Well, okay.
Nothing. So we can't lose anything.
Well, here's another angle to this whole thing. When it's just you and I, and maybe we're gabbing at the bar or over coffee or something like that, you know, language can be a little looser, and we can just rap a little bit quicker and bounce around, and there's nothing to lose. I think also, like, you know, I have to be a little bit more mindful and be more thoughtful about what I say. But I think that's also like something that I should be doing anyways. Like I am an adult. I should start, you know, communicating like an adult every now and again.
That's bullshit. I hate that idea. I want you to take that back. I don't know.
Never, man. Never.
I don't know.
Well, anyways, yeah.
So, just trying to think.
Well, we were initially going to be talking about entrepreneurship.
So we talked a little bit about who you know. We talked about why we're doing the video as a kind of a social experiment, or authentically, like literally we're taking a conversation and putting it on the internet knowing that it will be watched. So like I'll look at a camera. I'm very aware of it. I've never done anything like this.
Yeah, you have.
We did Facebook Live. I don't
Yeah.
know, the Bonanza Fire of like 2017.
Yeah, Bonanza Fire 2017.
I was there,
Hashtag tell your friends.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. There was nothing underhanded going on there. Matt was first on the
Yeah, I
scene.
didn't do it.
You know for sure. Actually, you started the fire, didn't you?
It could be argued, but the phone call came in.
Yeah,
at the right time.
it's all good. It's all good.
So entrepreneurship, 5 years. Do I think that 5-year rule is true? I've noticed a trend actually in this building. There's people who come and go, like as entrepreneurs. And
Yeah, we're in the 220 building
So
on
we're in
20th Street in Saskatoon,
Yeah.
Saskatchewan,
Canada, world,
Earth.
Milky Way galaxy.
Keep it going.
I don't know any more than that.
Oh.
I don't even know if we're in the. I think we're in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not.
The
But if we're in it,
genre.
how could you see it? Anyway, entrepreneur 5-year thing. So it's 5 years. It's like, I think there's a place too where there's like some people have different lengths of runway. You know what I mean? Like, and this is a term you've used with me talking about just like how far you can go before things have to prove themselves. And it's like someone who doesn't need it to, like, if you start a business and it doesn't need to work, I use the phrase false economy. Like if you don't actually need the money and you can keep dumping what you make in it, that's a false economy. And like and that's how every business starts. Every business starts, unless you're really lucky, every business starts costing the owner more than it makes them if they were to have a job somewhere else. And then it hopefully will grow and balance out the other side. And hopefully with great success, sometimes just enough to keep it going or whatever. But there's this runway of like, how long can you not make it until you have to do something else?
And
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do want to clarify. I'm just talking more so about referrals and your network starting to yield results. I think you can brute force success as an entrepreneur from a fairly early on within a business. I am definitely not the smartest worker. Sometimes I can be the hardest worker. And I know that there's been moments in my journey as an entrepreneur where the only reason why I was still doing it was because I was working a little bit harder than some of the other people that I was competing against. Obviously, that's not sustainable either. And I think, especially in the world that I work in, digital marketing, there's a lot of people that are working really, really hard, but I don't know if the model is sustainable. There's a lot of people that I think and I think in your industry as well, there's a lot of people that are working themselves into the ground, where it's just not sustainable. I think for a period of time that's necessary, but I think there needs to be some sort of plan to transition out of that as well. And I don't know how long somebody can sustain that for, but I don't know. It's a drag, and it can really wear on a person and their health.
Yeah. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna do the camera. I can actually roll. They stop at 30 minutes.
What are we at?
25. I'm just gonna stop them and start again. This one won't do that. For some reason, this camera can do it.
This is silly. Why does your camera turn off after 30 minutes?
This is like a whole thing I don't quite understand. It gets taxed differently if it can go over 30 minutes because like cinema, like it's like this old.
What?
It's baked into technology. That camera can do it. I don't know why.
This is Justin Trudeau's fault?
This is like a worldwide thing.
Oh my goodness. What?
I'm not joking.
Well,
So,
no.
like,
Where does the tax come from? Somebody has to enforce the tax. Who enforces the tax?
I think it's like when things go across borders. So it's just like easier for them to put these tech limits on it that stop it from hitting 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Can't there be like some piece of technology like how in the US or like in different places they turn semi-automatic rifles into full automatic rifles with a bumper? Isn't there some piece of technology or hardware that you can buy to put on your camera to make it keep going? Brute force it to keep going?
Yeah, and like in some cases, like I haven't needed that until today.
Right. Well, we're going big time here.
So, what were we talking about? Something about.
How long you can brute force?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So back to this conference I went to. One of the things he talked about, and I was like, "That's me." He's like, "Most entrepreneurs aren't actually entrepreneurs. They're solopreneurs," was his name, or contractors. Like they're not actually business people. They just happen.
They're not building a business. They're providing a service.
And they're a mono service provider, which actually photography in general is that way.
For sure.
Like photographers photograph everything themselves. They edit everything themselves. They deliver everything themselves. They design. Like most photographers I know don't even like outsource bookkeeping. I mean, they talk about it, and then when the end of the year comes, and they want to do. Oh, here comes Dave Stovey.
Dave Stovey, our first
Here's
guest.
Dave Stovey.
Hey, buddy.
Do you want to be on our team? Should we invite Dave onto the show?
Yeah. And now for our first guest.
We got
Dave.
10 more minutes to go.
Dave, we're doing an internet TV show. Sweet. You should play with us. Come join us.
How do I play?
Come sit on the couch. This guy's a maverick, Dave Stovey. He's a working photographer. You do it like every day, don't you?
Work every day?
Yeah.
I take a couple days off sometimes.
Yeah, right.
We're rolling. We're ready. Let's see.
3 cameras.
Isn't this cool?
Multicam.
Hello.
I just had an everything bagel. Do I got stuff in my tooth?
No. Oh, yeah, you do actually.
I do.
You had one.
Poppy seeds
You got
or
it.
sesame?
That's my favorite bagel, the everything bagel.
That's just an audio cue.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. We took a little break. Dave Stovey's back. That's the main, and then that's the that's you and Dustin's cam.
Is it tight on us?
I think I might
Tight
be in
enough?
it. Crystal might show up. Actually, can you close that door, Crystal? Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, where can I be? Where I'm not in
You're never in the way.
the way? Aw.
Come join us. So we started by talking about entrepreneurship. We've been talking a little bit about what were we talking about?
Well, we just ended talking about what
We're
I call a
droning.
solopreneur. Well, I didn't coin that term, but like the idea of most small entrepreneurs aren't actually entrepreneurs. They just do a thing that makes them money, but they don't treat it like a business.
So what's a framework of thinking to help somebody move away from that or move out of that?
So I was saying, Dave can elaborate on this one a little bit too. So like I was saying, even myself, like the business is me, or my business is me, and so I have some help. Like I have a team of some part-time employees, but I'm still the one who is the face of the company and like does the work. And I guess like most photographers don't even have employees. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying there's anything bad.
I don't.
Dave doesn't have employees.
But I do hire assistants from time to time when needed.
He hires assistants. Do you outsource your bookkeeping or no?
I outsource my accounting, but I do my own bookkeeping.
So if you do hire some outside contracting help.
Yeah. And technology with online booking and using Acuity and with the Zapier to make your invoicing working. So it's using technology as much as you can to further.
And you tap people to help you with that stuff, just to make it all work.
Yeah. And the one I figured out myself, I felt pretty smart on.
Yeah, Zapier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zap. For the cool kids out there, it's a Zap.
So how do we get on this? Oh, I want to grow my business, and so the current model I'm in doesn't let me do that.
Well, you have a very defined ceiling, right? You only have so many hours that you can work.
Like literally, like I can, if I'm the only one who picks up the camera and shoots, I can only book out as much time as I can go do that, even if I outsource some of the editing or whatever. Like, or well, I have a team that helps with that. But even then, it's just like if I'm the only one who can do the front end it's a bottleneck is what it really is. And I think that's where like I have a vision that I've made where I would like to grow it to something bigger. So, and not just for the sake of growth or for the sake of money, but for the idea that I have a vision, I guess, to build something where it's bigger than me, still based on my values, so it's part of me, but like MJ & Co is one of my brands, and one of the things that it promises is to create images for people that they'll love until the day they die. And it's like, if I can't be there for a special event because I have another event to be at, it makes me sad because I can't service a customer and give them as the experience that they would love. They would have to go somewhere else. Like there's that bottleneck of I have to be the person. So that's where it's like I would like to have a vision, I guess, for a bigger team where I'm probably, the way I think of it working out now is like I'm still servicing the same customers I currently service, and maybe that would grow slightly, and it might change over time, just newer clients coming or older clients moving on, but hopefully not moving on. But then the idea would be then maybe I could have other team members and they could be with me. I mean, no one would be with me forever necessarily. Like maybe someone would.
Likely not, though.
Like if I had an inspiring company that was like,
most great people, most great hires are going to be with you for a period of time, and then they'll move up through your business and out the other end onto new fun and exciting projects.
Yeah, and it might be something where it like literally trains people to be photographers that go on their own and start their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're training your competition.
It could be.
Yes, you're training your competition.
Which that's
exactly it, though. You have to feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
I think.
And
so you're very much the E-Myth mentality of your business should be able to exist without you if it was a properly run business.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting over the idea that I'm like the magic sauce. Like I love what I do, and I know people enjoy it when I'm passionate about what I do. But like, I think it's if I can start to grasp onto that bigger idea, because I believe it's worthwhile. I think that might be where the success comes in. I mean, this isn't proven. Maybe we'll be watching this in like 20 years and be like, oh, you fucking did it, like, or whatever. It's like,
well, I look at my brother who is, he started a small trucking company. He's a heavy duty mechanic, so he could buy older trucks, service them for cheap because that's his education and training, and then so he could run an older fleet without having to buy a $150,000 semi. He could buy a $30,000 one, fix it up, and keep it going on the road, and not have to have that same stress of having these vehicles on the road all the time. That if the guy calls in sick, he's not like, well, I have to make sure someone's. So anyways, he did that for a few years, worked his butt off, and then realized I could just make the same amount of money, just do it by myself, or having one other person and doing something, So he worked his butt off, had all these trucks going. They're all generating money. But his slice was small for all the phone calls he got late at night. Hey, I'm broken down in such a town, or all these things. And he's like, oh. So he got out of that. It wasn't worth. He found the stress level for himself wasn't enough. Now, did he not get big enough to maintain that he didn't have a manager, so he didn't have that second person doing the manager stuff, because he was the manager and the fixer, and so he was just at that threshold probably who wasn't quite big enough. And
I've heard that there's specifically to trucking that there are a couple different sizes that are called like sweet spots or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like 10 trucks is a sweet spot, and then I don't know, something like 60 or 100 or something is another sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then if you're kind of like floating in between those, you're either frantically trying to get to that next tier, or you're probably a little bit inefficient and somebody else is going to buy you and wrap you into what they're doing so that they can finish their transition.
Yeah. But he had great customer service. The customers always hired him, and that's all he expanded. He's like, I can get some guys doing what I'm doing. This is not rocket science.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I totally believe, like, I don't know if I totally buy you saying, like, I don't know if I'm the secret sauce, because we've been talking about it already. Like, a lot of these cameras that you guys run anybody could be pressing the big round button that's on the top right hand side of the camera and it would produce the same thing. I get that I'm totally undervaluing and simplifying a lot of this, but like I think like what you extract out of a person during a photo shoot, or the way that you make them feel, like that's what they're buying, that's what they're actually buying, and that's not something that's so easily replicated, or if it is, like it's, I don't know, it's not easily replicated, that's for sure.
Well, here was the funny conversation, and you and I talked about it last night. It was like, someone's coming down the stairs. It's not for me. What we talked about last night was like, people don't, what you think people hire you for isn't why people hire you. And like, for me, that's like, it's like, I was like, no, I'm a good photographer, really good product. I know how to get really sharp images. Like I can focus, like, that's not why people hire me. And it's like, for me, it's been hard to like let go of that. And it's like, you're right. Like people, there's a different problem that people have that I come and help them with. And like maybe for some people it's the experience. Like let's say a wedding day. People, I mean, usually it's in hindsight, but like people like are really thankful that I keep it fun and light. Like I'm not embarrassing them or making it about me. I know Dave, you're the same way when you photograph weddings. Like, you're there to serve and make a few dad jokes like me and have some fun.
People are super happy. They're saying, "Oh, these images are great. We're so happy." They haven't seen a frame yet. They're already saying,
we're at the reception. They're giving a shout out, and they haven't seen anything.
And they're so thankful. So obviously, it's more than pushing the button.
Yeah, you left an impression, but for me, it's like,
So
I back up my images.
Let's give the people, the one person that has lasted this long listening to us, let's give them something valuable to think about. I think with whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're self-employed or working for somebody, I think looking at what you do day to day in a critical way and moving past what it is that your job title is or what your duties are that you perform, and really think about like what hurdle or problem you're solving, and starting to really focus on that and truly understanding that thing. It'll make you better at that task if you continue to do that. It'll help you if you decide that you want to negotiate with your employer or with your clients. It just provides you a better and more realistic context to the world that you're operating in, so that you can do whatever you want to do in it. And I think that's super important to like have that understanding, because I think even like as an employer, I don't know if all the time if the people that I work with know what I find to be most valuable about them. I think they have their own ideas, but I don't know if they would always align with what I find most valuable about the people that I work with. And I find the people that I work with to be extremely valuable, but I bet you there can be a bit of a disconnect there. So I just think it would be an interesting exercise. It's an interesting exercise for me as well. And sometimes a bit of an ego check as well. But.
Yeah.
Cool.
Valid.
This was fun.
That's my wife. Her name's Crystal.
She's pretty cool.
All right. Should we call it a wrap?
Yeah.
That's good. 10 after 2.
Yeah, you guys both have coffees and I don't.
Well, Dave came late.
Well, we don't have money. That's not in the budget yet.
For coffees for all the guests?
Yeah.
Only the first guest on set gets a coffee?
That's right.
Fair enough. That's fair. It totally makes people want to be the first guest.
Wow.
So if Matt invites you to be the second guest, it's kind of like, no coffee.
Also, we're looking for corporate sponsorship from beer companies we'll taste test your beer, review it.
Whiskey. Whiskey's fine.
Whiskey for Dave.
And I'll lie. Like, even if I don't like it, if it's free, I'll say just about anything. Yeah. I'm a puppet. I am for sale. I am definitely for sale.
And your beard is really red in these lights.
In the
Is
red.
Which is fine. It's totally fine. Mine's going gray. I don't know if these lights is great.
It's charming.
No, it's a nice color. It's a nice distinguished
Contrast
color.
the blue.
Yeah, on the white. Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks good, man.
All right. I'll wrap her up. This is episode 1. And the season finale. Just kidding. We'll be back at just the right time.
Yes, just in a nick of time.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Fun. This is fun.